I caught my sister and boyfriend betraying me, but the real shock? My whole family knew, helped them hide it, and now they expect me to apologize. For most of my life, I've played the role of the responsible one, the one who doesn't cause trouble, who does everything by the book. My younger sister, Sophie, has always been the opposite. She's the golden child, the kind of person who gets away with everything just because she knows how to flash the perfect smile at the right moment. I should have known better than to trust her with anything I cared about. Growing up, Sophie had a natural charm that made people adore her. She was the kind of girl who could borrow my clothes without asking, leave them in a crumpled mess on her floor, and somehow make me apologize for being upset. My parents were no help either. They always brushed off her selfishness with excuses like, she's just young, or, you know how Sophie is. But I had Jake. Jake was my safe place. We had been together for 3 years, and he made me feel like, for once, I was someone's priority. He wasn't just my boyfriend. He was my best friend, my rock. The one person I thought I could trust without question. I was wrong. It started subtly. At first, it was just little things I told myself I was imagining. Sophie would laugh a little too much at Jake's jokes, even when they weren't funny. She would find excuses to touch his arm, to sit next to him whenever we had family gatherings. One time, when I got up to get drinks at a party, I came back to find her sitting in my seat, practically pressed against him. I gave her a look, but she just smiled and said, "Relax, we were just talking." Jake never seemed to notice. Or maybe he just didn't care. Then there were the texts. Sophie and I weren't the kind of sisters who texted all the time. So when I saw Jake's name pop up on her phone one evening, I felt a weird twist in my stomach. She was in the shower, so her phone was just sitting there on the counter, buzzing. I knew it was wrong to look. I knew it. But something in me, the same instinct that had been gnawing at my gut for weeks, told me I needed to see. So I picked up the phone, and my world shattered. There were dozens of messages. Jake, I miss you. When can we talk alone? Sophie, I know. It's hard with him always around. Jake, I wish things were different. Sophie, me too. My hands were shaking as I scrolled up, my breath catching in my throat. There were messages going back months. I saw a picture of them in my car, laughing together. I remembered that day. I had lent Sophie my car while hers was in the shop. She had told me she was meeting a friend. Apparently, that friend was my boyfriend. The words blurred together as my eyes burned with unshed tears. Jake, you drive me crazy. I can't stop thinking about you. Sophie, me neither. I feel guilty, but it feels right, doesn't it? I felt like I was going to throw up. I didn't know how long I stood there, frozen in my own bathroom, my heart hammering so hard I thought it would burst. When I finally snapped out of it, I heard the water shut off. Sophie was about to come out of the shower. For a second, I considered putting the phone down, pretending I had never seen anything. But no, she had done this to me. She had betrayed me, and I wasn't about to let her act like nothing happened. I turned to the door and flung it open just as she was stepping out, her hair dripping, a towel wrapped around her. What the hell is this? I hissed, holding up her phone. She blinked at me, confused for half a second, then her face drained of color. What are you doing? What am I doing? I let out a humorless laugh. I just found out my boyfriend and my own sister have been sneaking around behind my back. What the hell is this, Sophie? Her lips parted, but no words came out. She looked guilty, terrified, but not sorry. She opened her mouth again, then closed it, like she was scrambling for the right excuse. Finally, she whispered, "I didn't mean for it to happen." I let out a shaky breath, gripping her phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. How long? She swallowed. Please. How long? Sophie looked away, tears brimming in her eyes. A few months. My stomach twisted. A few months. My voice cracked. You've been sneaking around with Jake for months? While sitting at my dinner table, acting like my loving little sister. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I'm sorry. No, you're not, I snapped. You're only sorry because I found out. She didn't deny it. I turned on my heel and stormed out of the bathroom, my whole body trembling. I didn't even care that I was still in my pajamas, that my hair was a mess. I just had to leave. I grabbed my keys and headed straight for Jake's apartment. He opened the door with a sleepy smile, like he wasn't a cheating piece of garbage. Hey, babe. I didn't let him finish. I shoved Sophie's phone into his hands. Explain this. His face paled instantly. He started, His voice suddenly too careful, too controlled. I don't think we should. No, I shook my head. I want to hear you say it. I want you to tell me, to my face, that you've been screwing my sister behind my back. He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Jake? My voice was rising. Years of bottled-up emotions breaking free. Because it looks a hell of a lot like you betrayed me. Jake sighed, setting Sophie's phone down on the counter like it was suddenly too heavy. I didn't plan for this to happen. I laughed bitterly. That's exactly what she said. His jaw tightened. Emily, listen. No, I'm done listening. I'm done being the fool. I turned to leave, but his voice stopped me cold. I love her. The world seemed to tilt. I turned back slowly. What did you just say? Jake's eyes flickered with guilt, but he didn't take it back. I love her, Em. I didn't want to, but I do. I felt like the air had been knocked out of my lungs. I couldn't even cry. I just stared at him, at the man I had once trusted with everything, and I felt nothing. For the first time in my life, I didn't care about being the responsible one, the mature one. I just wanted to burn it all to the ground. I don't remember leaving Jake's apartment. I don't remember driving home. Don't remember unlocking my front door. What I do remember is standing in the middle of my living room, staring at the walls. My mind completely blank. It was like my body had gone into shock. My heart was pounding so loudly that I could barely hear anything else. My hands trembled. My breath came in shallow gasps. And no matter how many times I replayed the conversation, I couldn't process it. Jake loved her. My sister. My own flesh and blood. The girl who used to steal my clothes and lie to my parents and manipulate her way into getting everything she wanted. And now she had taken him, too. The sick part? I wasn't even surprised. Maybe deep down, I had always known. Maybe I had ignored every red flag because the alternative, the idea that the two people I trusted most could betray me, was too unbearable to accept. But now, there was no denying it. A sound escaped my throat, something between a laugh and a sob, and suddenly, my legs gave out. I collapsed onto the couch, gripping my stomach as nausea rolled through me in waves. Then, out of nowhere, my phone started ringing. I barely registered the name on the screen before answering. Mom. Emily. Her voice was firm. Come over. Now. I blinked. What? We need to talk about this. Your sister is in tears. She told me everything, and frankly, I'm disappointed in you. My stomach clenched. Disappointed? In me? Yes. She sighed, like she was explaining something to a child. I understand that you're hurt, but the way you reacted was completely unreasonable. Your sister is devastated. Jake is devastated. This isn't just about you, Emily. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My grip tightened on the phone. You understand that I'm hurt? Mom, my boyfriend, no, my fiancé cheated on me with my sister. And you're telling me that I'm the problem? Sweetheart, love is complicated. I nearly threw my phone across the room. Love? Are you serious? This isn't a Nicholas Sparks movie. She betrayed me. I know it's painful, my mother said, in that fake calm voice she always used when she wanted to manipulate me. But you have to think about what's best for the family. Do you really want to ruin everything over a mistake? I almost choked. A mistake. A mistake that had gone on for months. A mistake that Sophie had happily continued while smiling in my face. I squeezed my eyes shut. Mom, if you're calling to ask me to forgive her, don't bother. Her voice sharpened. Emily, you need to stop being so selfish. This is hurting Sophie, too. A hollow laugh escaped my lips. Oh, poor Sophie. She's hurting? I wonder why. Could it be because she got caught? That's enough, my mother snapped. You are coming over. And we are handling this as a family. The sheer audacity of it all. I wanted to tell her to go to hell. I wanted to scream at her. To finally let out every ounce of resentment I had bottled up over the years. But I knew it wouldn't matter. Because this wasn't about me. It never was. Sophie had always been the favorite. The golden child. The one who could do no wrong. And me? I was just the collateral damage. I took a deep breath, my voice eerily calm. Fine. Good, Mom said, satisfied. We'll see you soon. I hung up without saying another word. Then, I grabbed my keys and left. Family intervention, the gaslighting begins. The moment I stepped into my parents' house, I felt it. That suffocating, artificial sense of togetherness they always tried to force when something went wrong. Everyone was already there. My dad sat stiffly on the couch, his arms crossed. Looking uncomfortable, like he wanted to be anywhere else. My mom stood by Sophie, rubbing her back, whispering something I couldn't hear. And then there was Jake, sitting next to my sister, like he belonged there. I felt a fresh wave of rage rise inside me, but I swallowed it down. So, I said, voice clipped, "What is this? A family meeting to convince me that what they did was okay?" Mom gave me a warning look. "Emily, sit down." I stayed where I was. Sophie lifted her tear-streaked face, her lip trembling. "I never meant to hurt you," she whispered. I laughed. "Oh, spare me." "Emily," Dad cut in, rubbing his temples. "This situation is complicated." "No, it's not," I shot back. "It's very simple. She slept with my boyfriend. End of story." Sophie wiped her tears dramatically. I didn't want it to happen." But she turned to Jake, her voice breaking. "It's real, Em." I froze. "What did you just say?" Jake exhaled. "I love her." A pin-drop silence filled the room. I stared at him, my body numb. Then, slowly, I turned to my parents. They didn't look surprised. And that's when I knew. They had already accepted it. They had already chosen her. My mother sighed. "Sweetheart, you can't control who you fall in love with. Sometimes, these things just happen." I almost screamed. "You're actually defending this?" I asked, voice shaking. Mom folded her arms. "It's not about choosing sides, Emily. It's about moving forward. They're happy together. Would you really rather see your sister miserable?" I let out a slow breath. The gaslighting was unreal. I turned to my dad. "Do you have anything to say?" He hesitated. "It's not ideal, but maybe in time, you'll understand." I laughed. Unbelievable. I took one last look at them, my family, and knew I had no place here anymore. I shook my head. "You know what? You guys deserve each other." Then I turned to Sophie. "I hope it was worth it," I said coldly. "Because you just lost a sister." Her face crumpled, but I didn't care. Without another word, I walked out. And this time, I wasn't coming back. I didn't cry when I left my parents' house. I didn't even feel sad. All I felt was numb. Betrayal has a funny way of hollowing you out, of making everything else seem insignificant. The worst part wasn't losing Jake. No, I had already accepted that he was a coward and a liar. The real pain came from my family's reaction. The way they dismissed my feelings. The way they tried to justify Sophie's actions like her happiness was more important than my heartbreak. Like I was disposable. But fine. If that's how they saw me, then I would give them exactly what they wanted. I was done. The smear campaign begins. The first text came an hour after I left. "Aunt Carol, Emily, honey, I heard what happened. Please don't make this a bigger deal than it needs to be. Family is everything. You'll regret shutting them out." I ignored it. Then another. "Cousin Lisa, I don't know the full story, but you should at least try to be happy for Sophie. It's not like she meant to hurt you. Love is unpredictable." I gripped my phone so tightly that my fingers ached. More messages poured in. "Uncle Ron, you can't control who people fall for, kiddo. Be the bigger person. Grandma, sweetheart, I raised you better than this. Sophie needs you right now. We all do." They weren't reaching out to comfort me. They were guilt-tripping me. Every single message had the same undertone. "You're overreacting, Emily. Get over it. Be happy for them. Move on." Not one person asked how I was doing. Not one person called out Sophie and Jake for what they did. And the worst part? I knew exactly why. Because Sophie had always been the favorite. The golden child. The one everyone fawned over. The one who could do no wrong. And me? I was just an obstacle in her way. I threw my phone onto the bed and stared at the ceiling, my chest rising and falling in slow, controlled breaths. They wanted me to be the bigger person. They wanted me to forgive. They wanted me to pretend like my life hadn't just fallen apart. And I refused. Public humiliation. I tried to avoid them. But my family had a way of dragging me into their circus no matter what. The next weekend, my mom invited me to talk things through at a family barbecue. I refused. But then my dad called and muttered something about not making a scene and keeping things civil. So, like an idiot, I went. The moment I walked into my parents' backyard, I felt it. The stares. The whispers. The pity. I should have left right then and there, but I didn't. I wanted to see if anyone had even an ounce of shame. Spoiler alert, they didn't. The moment Sophie saw me, she ran up with teary eyes and hugged me like nothing had happened. "Oh, Em, I'm so glad you came," she gushed, squeezing me tight. "I've missed you so much." I shoved her off. "Don't touch me." Her face fell, and suddenly, everyone was watching. My mom sighed dramatically. Emily, is that really necessary? I ignored her. Where's Jake? Sophie bit her lip, glancing around nervously. Hey, he thought it would be best if he stayed home. He didn't want to make things harder for you. I barked out a laugh. Oh, how considerate of him. Didn't stop him from sleeping with my sister. Though, did it? Gasps rippled through the family. Aunt Carol looked horrified. Emily, must you be so vulgar? I turned to her, my patience snapping. Excuse me? Did you just call me vulgar? Sorry. I thought we were all pretending like sleeping with your sibling's fiancé was normal now. Silence. Then my grandmother spoke. Emily, I know this hurts, but you need to let go of your anger. I clenched my fists. Why? So Sophie and Jake can live happily ever after while I'm the bitter ex who just won't get over it. My dad cleared his throat. No one is saying that. I turned on him. Aren't they? I gestured around. Everyone is acting like I'm the bad guy for not smiling and pretending everything is fine. Do you hear yourself? You're defending them. All of you are. No one spoke. I exhaled sharply. You know what? I don't know why I came. I'm done trying to reason with people who only care about Sophie's feelings. I turned to leave, but then my mom spoke the final nail in the coffin. Emily, she said, her voice cold. One day, you're going to regret this. I froze. Then, slowly, I turned to look at her. No, Mom. You're going to regret this. And then I walked out. The revenge brewing. In the weeks that followed, I ignored every call, every message, every weak attempt to lure me back into the family dynamic. I started going out more, focusing on work, reconnecting with old friends, people who actually cared about me. Meanwhile, Sophie and Jake got bolder. They went public. I woke up one morning to see their Instagram announcement, a sweet, lovey-dovey photo of them holding hands with the caption, "Sparkling hearts, sometimes love finds you in the most unexpected places. We're so lucky to have found our forever. Hashtag soulmates, hashtag meant to be." I stared at my phone. Then I laughed. Oh, they wanted to be public? Fine. Let's play. I took a deep breath, opened my camera roll, and started scrolling. There was so much dirt I could expose. Text of Jake badmouthing Sophie before they got together. Messages where he complained about her being immature and too clingy. And then, of course, there were the texts from him 2 weeks before I found out about the affair, where he was still telling me he loved me and wanted to spend his life with me. They wanted to paint this as a love story? I was about to turn it into a tragedy. I opened Twitter, and I posted everything. The moment I hit post, my phone exploded. Notifications poured in. Likes, retweets, comments, DMs, more than I could even process at once. I watched in real time as my post went viral, spreading like wildfire across social media. And honestly, it was glorious. I didn't just expose the affair. I laid everything out, the screenshots of Jake trash-talking Sophie before he ever touched her, the texts where he lied to both of us, the messages where he was still telling me he loved me while sleeping with my sister. I didn't even need to say much. The receipts spoke for themselves. The best part? I didn't tag them. I didn't have to. The internet did its job. Holy sh*T, this is wild. Not just betrayal. He was playing them both? This dude is straight up garbage. And the family defended this? Within hours, people were dismantling Jake and Sophie in the comments. And soon enough, I got the inevitable phone call. It was Mom. I let it ring. Then came the texts. Mom, what the hell did you do? Dad, Emily, take this down now. Aunt Carol, this is embarrassing for the family. Fix it immediately. Sophie, are you kidding me? And then, finally, Jake. I smirked. Oh, this was going to be good. The panic begins. Jake's first message was exactly what I expected. Jake, Emily, can we talk? Oh, sure. Let's talk. I waited, letting him sweat before responding. Me. Talk about what? The fact that you were trashing Sophie before you even slept with her? Or how you told me you still loved me while sneaking around? Or maybe how you told Sophie she was meant for you, when you were literally planning a future with me 2 weeks before I found out? Silence. Then, Jake, it's not what it looks like. I burst out laughing. Me. Oh, it looks exactly like what it is. You played us both, and now the whole world knows. Another pause. Jake, can we meet in person? Please. Oh, he was desperate. Me, why? So you can gaslight me in real time instead of through texts? No thanks. I left him on read. Meanwhile, Sophie was spiraling. Sophie, you ruined my life. You BTCH. Asterisk. Sophie, how could you do this to me? Sophie, people are calling me a homewrecker. I rolled my eyes. Me. Maybe because you are? Blocked. The fallout. The next few days were pure chaos. Sophie deleted her Instagram. Jake went silent. And my family? They were furious. Mom tried calling again. This time, I picked up. Emily, what have you done? She snapped the moment I answered. I leaned back on my couch. Oh, I don't know, Mom. Told the truth, maybe. You humiliated your sister. Do you know what people are saying about her? I smirked. That she's a cheater? A liar? A backstabber? Because all of that is true. Emily, take it down. No. Her voice turned sharp. This is family business, not for the world to see. I let out a cold laugh. Oh, now it's family business? Where was this energy when you were telling me to forgive and forget? When you were acting like Sophie's happiness was more important than my dignity? Mom sputtered, trying to find words. We just wanted peace. Yeah, peace for her. Never for me. Silence. Then, in a quieter voice, she said, Your father and I, we just don't want this to tear us apart. I clenched my jaw. It already did, Mom. You just didn't notice. And then I hung up. Jake's karma hits first. I wasn't expecting to hear from Jake again. But then, about a week later, I got a text from one of his friends. Ryan, dude, Jake's job found out about the post. Ryan, apparently, one of the higher-ups saw it and didn't like the bad press. He got let go. I blinked. Oh, that was beautiful. I had completely forgotten that Jake worked for a super image-conscious company, one that prided itself on integrity and ethical leadership. Guess they didn't like employing lying cheaters. I didn't feel bad. Not even a little. Sophie's karma comes next. Sophie's downfall took a little longer, but when it came, it was glorious. About a month after the post, I got a message from an anonymous account. Anonymous. Hey, I don't know if you care, but I thought you should know. Jake's been cheating on Sophie too. I nearly choked on my coffee. It was a random girl, someone Sophie didn't even know. She had seen my viral post, recognized Jake, and decided to reach out. Anonymous. He was seeing me up until 2 weeks ago. I had no idea about you or your sister. He told me he was single. I laughed so hard I almost cried. I screenshot the messages and sent them to Sophie. Me. Looks like true love wasn't so true after all. Blocked. Again. The best part? She didn't even deny it. 3 weeks later, Sophie and Jake broke up. All that betrayal, all that drama, and for what? Nothing. The final goodbye. I wish I could say my family came around. That they saw the light, realized how horribly they treated me, and begged for my forgiveness. But they didn't. My mom still thinks I should have handled it privately. My dad doesn't talk about it at all. Most of the family just pretends it never happened. But me? I'm free. No more fake family loyalty. She lost her reputation. And worst of all, she lost me. Because I will never let her back in my life. And honestly, that's the best revenge of all. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking Reddit cheating stories happening around you.